In the councils of government, we must guard against
the NFL draft.
Industrial complex.
What's going on, everybody? Aaron Nagler here, joined by Tyler Brooke for another edition of the Draft Industrial Complex. Tyler, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I just tried to wave and realized, there we go. I was trying to wave on the screen.
Tyler's got us in very specific boxes, Tyler. You've got to make sure that, you are within the realm of Tyler Herrick's,
my bad.
How he wants us presented. So
I'm just too excited, man. It's Thursday. The tournament's in full swing.
It is.
Wisconsin's on as we're recording. I'm an IU grad, so I picked Purdue to win. But if they lose to High Point, I'm not going to be too mad.
Well, they're ahead right now, so we should be all right. Wait, you picked Purdue to win it all?
No. I picked them to win a couple games.
Okay.
But again, as an IU grad, I don't have anything to root for besides Purdue losing early and laughing. So we can roll with that.
Very good. No, I've got St. John's going all the way and winning.
Same. There we go.
I mean, my girlfriend is a St. John's grad, so I feel like I am allowed to jump on that bandwagon. And that's we were talking before we started recording. I actually have watched more St. John's ball this year than anything else, Wisconsin, Marquette, anything. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely rooting for them. And you're right. It's the start of the tournament. And it's a bit, at this point, when you're talking about the end of the first wave, certainly of free agency, most eyes now turn towards the draft. I think the Packers are most likely, maybe not done after the addition of McCole Hardman, but they're most likely also turning their attention to the draft. Mm-hmm. And I did want to highlight something you wrote over the 33rd team that I really love. And you do this, you've been doing it for a number of years now. It's Brooke's Bullies, which are essentially the toughest dudes in each draft class. I love this idea, especially since, look, I don't expect these guys mostly to be Packers targets or anything like that. But I'll tell you this, each and every year, it feels like talking to Packers fans, something that is a recurring theme is we need more toughness. We need more nasty. We need more of this or that. And it feels like these are gentlemen who would fit that mold, who would certainly bring an aspect where if you hear this name called on draft day or over the weekend of the draft, you can probably rest assured that you're getting some of that. You're getting some toughness and you're getting some nasty. I love it.
I think it matters so much. I think we talked about it last week too. Just it's not something you can really quantify, but you know it when you see it.
Yes.
And it's just, I think in the game of football, everyone's going to get hurt. Everyone's going to get banged up. Everyone's going to be put in situations where they have to overcome some kind of adversity, trailing, playing through an injury, something's going on at home. And I just think the players that are the most mentally tough and can keep composed and, show out are the players that matter. And I know people probably don't want to hear this name, but Jalen Hurts, I think really checks a lot of these boxes from a mental toughness standpoint.
I think it's a really good example. Yes.
Not the most talented thrower of the football, but a guy that will play through a lot and, just always stays composed even when things are going tough. And he plays his best football when it matters. And I just think players across the board like that really, embody Brooke's Bullies. This year, though, I did try to go more specifically with the physically tough guys, just because there was some true downright bullies.
There are. And I love right off the bat, your first one that you've written up on your list is Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. We talked about him a little bit last week during our your top 50 prospects, but I'm saying I use the phrase a lot. And specifically when talking about Sterling Sharp, a man among boys, right? Mm-hmm. A guy who just clearly stands out against the whole field of competition. I don't know what it projects to in the NFL, but man, Tyler Warren fits that bill when you're watching him in any college football game.
So one of the comps I've heard I've liked quite a bit, but I think he's somehow more physical is Dallas Clark. Maybe it's just from the aesthetics, the number, all of that.
Sure.
He doesn't get enough credit as a blocker. And I think that's why he makes the Bullies list for me. Yes, when he has the ball in his hands, whether he's, catching it, playing wildcat quarterback, anything like that. He can hurdle, stiff arm guys. As a blocker, he drives dudes to the ground. And if you want to watch a game that really exemplifies that, the Big Ten championship against Oregon, holy smokes. He is just dirting guys. He's throwing guys out of bounds. He's off to the sideline and still trying to block guys. Like, just absolute relentless tenacity as a blocker. And I think that's what's going to make him so special. I know we're talking about him as this like pass catching option, but the fact that you can also use him as a blocker, you can line him up in so many different spots. And
I mean, it's almost, given what he's done at the college level, I mean, again, I don't know about the projection to the pros, but man, it's almost as if you've got that extra tackle out there. You're not even bringing in the extra tackle for a heavy line set. You've got one. And he happens to be able to go out in routes, catch the ball, and do all the things that tight end traditionally does. But man, to your point, but he just buries. He's throwing guys out the club on the regular. Yeah, I can see why you lead with him because he certainly exemplifies it.
What's funny is they're even going away from Bullies too. He also does all the finesse stuff really well. I've seen him hurdle dudes. I've seen him one-hand catch stuff. Like, I do think he's a total package. I don't know if he's not on that Brock Bowers tier, but I think I also wrote about him today. Like, he's one of those guys that's going to slip because he's a tight end.
Right.
And someone's just going to get like a perennial Pro Bowler in the teens probably. And let me tell you, I live in Indianapolis. Everyone here so badly wants Tyler
open for it, right?
Yeah.
Not wouldn't be a surprise, actually. But,
no.
Well, we'll see. Next up, you've got Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama. Not a guy I'm incredibly familiar with. I assume he's tough as nails.
All right. I promise I didn't do this on purpose. I did not pick two Tylers in a row to start. Brooks
sure,
Bullies.
right.
Yeah.
Little...
But no, I'm dead serious, though. Like, for the record, Tyler Booker, absolutely not a Packers type. Like, not a terrific athlete on the offensive line, but he's a 320-pound guard that's going to kick your ass. And he has this great quote from the combine that I just love. And I was like, as soon as I heard this quote, I was like, he has to go on this list. He's like, basically what he said is, my enjoyment out of football is making other people not love football. He wants to take the joy of the game away from people.
Phenomenal. That's so good.
And I saw that, and I was like, that is a bully. And then you watch the tape, and obviously he's strong as hell. Like, he's just bodying people. He's looking for work in pass protection. He wants to dirt people. I think he's a first-round guard player, or coaches are going to absolutely love this guy. Again, there's going to be teams like the Packers that would not touch him because, he's not a great athlete. He's pretty stiff, but he's just going to move bodies for you. And I think that's, some team is going to fall in love with him, probably in the top 20. And they're going to be getting a very fun player if you just like maulers in the trenches.
Next up, you've got Cam Scatabo, the running back out of Arizona State, who really kind of, I would say, splashed to the national consciousness during the college football playoffs. This is a guy who can do a lot of different things, but number one, you're right. I mean, he is tough as hell. There's no doubt there.
Yeah, and for a bully, I always want contact balance in my running back that's a bully, right? A guy that can break a lot of tackles. And if you watch the Big 12 championship dude's just, it feels like no tackle is going to face this guy. I also love his story, and I think that's why he belongs on here. Like, a completely unheralded high school recruit, goes to Sacramento State for 2 seasons, transfers to Arizona State, apparently is a huge head case. The head coach is even like, this offseason, like, you need to stop being so selfish and just like get your head right. And I have to give him all the credit in the world. Like, clearly he did everything that he was asked and, reaped the benefits from it and had a phenomenal year. My comp for him was like what I would imagine a modern Mike Allstott would be.
That's really good.
He's just not going to go down. But like, there's so much versatility to his game. He is a legitimate pass catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah, seriously, like downfield pass catcher, not just stuff swinging out of the backfield. Like, he can work downfield as a pass catcher.
And then obviously, was it the flu or whatever he was dealing with in the playoff? And it sucks that they came up just short, but I think it was the game of the playoff was against Texas, and for him to try and put the team on his back. I wanted the upset, but I think he'll go down in college football playoff legacy. Like, I thought it was one of those
incredible performance. I totally agree. One thing I did want to ask you, because I got asked about it yesterday on Packers Daily regarding where he's going to go in the draft. And somebody was asking about round 3. And initially I thought, well, that feels early, but I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised if someone took a flyer on him early, but I suspect he's probably a day 3 guy.
Yeah. Like, honestly, all it takes is one team, right? And the consensus is, I think he has probably one of the wider consensus rankings, like anywhere from, I've seen like potential top 50 guy to, I personally have him as a
that
day
would
3
blow
guy.
my mind if he went top 50.
Yeah. He plays a very specific role, right? Do you need a guy that can take 20 carries and, break a bunch of tackles and play a lot of gap scheme and just like inside run? I think he's your guy. I have some questions though. Like I have questions about his top speed. I think he's pretty dang stiff, and I don't think that happens a lot. But also, like, I've questioned my day 3 grade on him because the trait I've always valued more than anything for running backs is contact balance. And outside of Genty, he's probably next up as far as best contact balance in this draft.
Right.
So I really struggle with it. It's going to take one team. I think he'll go day 2, even if I don't necessarily agree with it.
Next up, you've got Jack Beck, the wide receiver out of TCU.
Yeah.
A very dramatic offseason, dramatic kind of year for the young man. I mean, toughness in spades in a lot of different ways for this kid.
I mean, the game-winning touchdown in the Senior Bowl after just the week he had down in Mobile was just like, with so much else going on in his life. Obviously, his brother passing in the attack in New Orleans. I'm blown away by the kid's toughness in that regard, and I don't know how anyone can go through that kind of thing. But even on tape, if we're just excluding all of that, I think he belongs on this list. I mean, he was a tight end at LSU and got moved to wide receiver at TCU. And just every time I turn on the tape after the catch, he refuses to go down. He continues to do all that dirty work. I'm not totally sure about him as a blocker, but I know if he gets with a coach like Matt LaFleur or someone else, like he is going to block his tail off because he is just straight up built that way. I think it's a very unique play style in this class where there are a lot of different receivers. And I've heard Puka Nakua comps is like that could be like this year's Puka. I think that's a little rich, but again, extremely physical play style. I love the way he's wired, and obviously it makes sense that he's a former tight end.
No question about it. Next up, you've got Chris Paul Jr., the oldest linebacker. I like this. I like this kid's style. I haven't watched a ton. I've watched probably 2 games, but I can see why he's on the list.
Yeah, I mean, sub 230-pound linebacker. I got to interview him for the 33rd team, and let me tell you, like, I've probably interviewed, I don't know how many athletes at this point. He might be one of the most authentic, but Jamal Williams will always be number 1 for me.
Hell yeah,
he's close to that tier. That this kid, all about bonds, connections, being authentic and honest with your teammates, and all of this. And he's just a fun interview to talk to. But the tape, totally different person. Like a sub 230-pound linebacker should not be this strong and this fearless. You would think, you'd think of like a McDuffie type, right? Although, he's not too bad against the run, but you think of a guy that's trying to play a lot of coverage and things like that. This dude's missed tackle rate was sub 5% at his size. And he had, 90 tackles in college. He is effective in coverage. He is effective as a blitzer. But again, just that wiry strength and being completely unafraid to go meet someone in the hole and inside run, like just blown away by a kid. I'm always have a soft spot on my bullies list for the smaller guys. Oh man, that guy is just an absolutely fearless ball player. And it just every time I talk about an Ole Miss defender, I continue to be blown away they didn't make the playoff because they just had so many good contributors on that defense. And I think Paul is one of the more unheralded ones, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him be like the second or third linebacker off the board after Jalen Walker and G.G. Campbell.
You mentioned his, willingness to be a blitzer, et cetera. Yeah. What about his ability to get off blocks from those bigger interior guys? Is that something that shows up on film? Is that a worry? Where do you stand there?
When he's a little hesitant, it can hurt him. But when he has that, like, I need to go make this play now, I'm not going to knife around, and he doesn't BS or try to be hesitant, which too many linebackers you'll watch at the college level really suck at that. And it drives me insane as a former linebackers coach. He can deliver quite a punch engaging with those blockers and, getting disengaged. And again, with the lack of size and length, that's hard for a lot of these guys, but the effort is 1,000,000% there. And, he does find some success when he is all the way in, full trigger. Let's go.
Then you have Andrew Mukuba, safety out of Texas. I'm not familiar with this young man's game. I remember watching him very, very sparingly during the season, but I can't say I'm very familiar with him.
Yeah, so transfer from Clemson to Texas. My favorite fun fact about him, he grew up in the same town in Zimbabwe that my girlfriend went to school in, which I'm like, I was like, what the heck? Yeah.
What?
Yeah, extremely small world there. That really blew me away. Shout out Harare, Zimbabwe.
As one does.
Yeah, as one does. Heat-seeking missile, like safety. He is historically a very small safety at 186 pounds, something like that. But just flies all over the field. And obviously, like, a lot of his highlights are interceptions and pass breakups and things like that. But man, when he meets, a guy over the middle trying to break up a pass, or he's helping out in run support, He is not afraid at all to get his nose dirty. Goes in low. He's not going to like hit stick guys, but his ability to fly in, disrupt plays, make clean tackles, things like that, and break up passes. I was just blown away by a guy that tough at that size as a safety. He's one of my top ranked safeties, man. I just think he checks so many boxes for me. And this comp worries me a little bit. But one of my favorite prospects I've ever watched was Buda Baker coming out of Washington.
Oh, nice.
Who got knocked a lot for being too small as a safety,
small, yeah.
But was absolutely ferocious and versatile and flew all over the field. Makuba reminds me a lot of Buda Baker. And I that's why he makes the Bullies list. I love fearless. Again, undersized guy, fearless, flies all over the field. That's going to check a lot of boxes for me.
See, it's just a pity the Packers figured out their safety room last year. Otherwise, I'd be pining for him. But probably not a fit in Green Bay, simply because they've probably got that spot squared away.
Yeah. They probably do. I mean, if they want to take a fun safety, I'm not going to say no. I like fun football players,
right?
But I doubt they do. Yeah.
I love it. Tyler, I cannot thank you enough. Make sure you're checking out Brooke's Bullies. The link is in the description of this video. Make sure you check out all Tyler's work at the 33rd team. Tyler, I'll talk to you next week, man.
Can't wait.